What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ecker Geopolitics. It's March 16th, 2026. Apparently, Netanyahu is still alive, but there's been some speculation as to whether or not that's true. Is Netanyahu alive or is he dead? Also, Trump claims that we are going to continue with the Iran war and the Clarity Act. We're going to talk about that a little bit, hottest stories on X, and all of the other stories that are really circulating the Iran war, and we're gonna analyze the truth, try to determine the truth. So it'll be a good show, but we're gonna find the truth versus fiction versus the Netanyahu rumor tonight, and we'll see what you guys have to say. Let's get into it. Hey, everybody. So let's look at the stories. We'll start with the little bit of the market updates, and we'll just run through this for a few minutes. We'll see what we can get done here, make sure everything's going good. How is your guys' day going? Is everything going good? How are you handling World War III? How are you handling the chaos? That's what I want to know. So let's get right into it. U.S. stocks climb to their best day since the Iran war began after oil prices ease. A drop in oil prices on Monday helped send the U.S. stock market to its best day since the war in Iran began. The S&P 500 climbed 1% for its biggest gain in 5 weeks. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added, sorry, I lost my place there. Dow Jones Industrial Average added 387 points, or 0.8%, and the NASDAQ Composite jumped 1.2%. Driver for the markets, once again, was the price of oil. A barrel of benchmark U.S. crude fell 5.3% to settle at $93.50, easing some pressure off the economy after topping $102 earlier in the morning. Brent crude, the international standard, fell 2.8% to $100.21 per barrel after earlier gaining at $106.50. So oil's going up and it's moving. I think oil is going to hit at least $200 a barrel. That's my predictions. That's kind of my analysis. That's what I believe is probably going to happen. Stock market news, March 16, 2026. Dow Jones ends 400 points higher as stocks rebound after 3-week losing streak. Oil back below $95 a barrel. So that's happening. And again, the markets are still looking pretty good in crypto as well. So crypto's looking pretty strong. The fear and greed index is now at 32. So again, 2 weeks ago, we were at like 5 on the fear and greed index. Now we're back up to 32. People are investing their money again. People are taking their paychecks and they're buying crypto with it. That's what that means. Ultimately, I think with the Clarity Act too, which we're going to cover in just a moment here, a lot of big things happening. Okay, but Bitcoin we see is at $71,622. Ethereum's at $2,111. Binance is at $663. XRP is at $1.41. The USDC is at 99 cents. Solana is at $88.44. Tron is at 29 cents. Dogecoin at 96 cents, or 0.096 cents. Hyperliquid at $37.24, and Cardano at 26 cents. And then we also have Monero that moved up 4.2% in the last 7 days, 4.2%. $356.46 that's at, and Chainlink's at $9.24. So those are the bigger coins. And then, of course, we have Trump's coin, World Liberty Financial, at 99 cents. So what do you guys think about the crypto market? You feeling good about crypto? Because I think there's a lot of big things happening. The Clarity Act 2026 odds are extremely low if it's not passed before April, though. So this is a new article from the Trading View or Cointelegraph. U.S. Clarity Act, which aims to bring greater regulatory clarity to the crypto industry, may have little chance of passing this year if it doesn't move forward within the next 7 weeks, according to Crypto Executive. If Clarity doesn't pass the committee by the end of April, odds of passage in 2026 become extremely low. Galaxy Digital, head of firm-wide research Alex Thorne, said in an X post on Saturday, this needs to hit the Senate floor by early May. Floor time is running out, and odds diminish every day that passes, Thorne said. It comes after the U.S. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he doesn't expect the chamber to act on the digital asset market structure legislation before April, as it will prioritize the Save America Act, which will require voters to provide proof of U.S. citizenship in person to register. Stablecoin rewards debate may not be the last hurdle. Thorne said that Maine perceived holdup for Clarity Act is the debate over whether stablecoin rewards will disrupt the traditional banking system, which will split the banking and crypto industry, but warned that more issues could surface after the debate is settled. It's very possible that rewards are not final hurdle, but instead just the current hill on the hill the bill is dying on, Thorne said, pointing to potential issues around DeFi, developer protections, and regulatory authority. So definitely some doom news there, but you have to hold and think long term, right? As an investor, as an entrepreneur, as a realtor, I can tell you gotta hold long term. I've been in crypto for a long time, since about 2016, 2017. Don't move your shit around. Don't move your crypto around. Don't do stupid things with your money. Ultimately, that's kind of the most important thing, right? That's kind of the most important thing. Hold on, let me make sure we're still going here. There we go. Just have to restart that capture every few minutes. Some lawmakers had been optimistic, but an April timeline. Crypto-friendly U.S. Senator Bernie Moreno said on February 19th that the Clarity Act could make its way through Congress, hopefully by April, the Ohio Republican told CNBC. However, the investment bank TD Cowen warned in January that crypto market structure legislation may not pass until 2027 and might take effect in 2029. Wow. If Democratic lawmakers manage to stall the vote beyond the midterm elections and regain power in at least one chamber of Congress. Earlier this month, U.S. President Donald Trump criticized banks for stalling the Senate's crypto market structure bill amid disagreements over stablecoin yield payments. The U.S. needs to get market structure done ASAP, Trump said on March 4th. So I still think the Clarity Act is definitely going to pass. I mean, there's a 75% chance of it, or a 70% chance on Kalshi odds and 74% chance on Polymarket, as you can see here. The key numbers 294 to 134, and that was passed in July 17th, 2025, right? So the deadline right now is looking like spring, and there's already 21 co-sponsors for the bill. So what is the Clarity Act? It's the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act of 2025, HR 3633, and this divides crypto regulatory authority between the SEC and CFTC. Passed the House on 294 to 134. Senate stalled over stablecoin yield. And that's what we've been hearing a lot about, is the stablecoin yield, right? Stablecoin yield, stablecoin yield, stablecoin yield. Keep hearing about stablecoin yield, right? So that's why it's important to follow all of this. We also have the gold markets. This is from the American Precious Metals Exchange. And as we're looking through here and we're looking at the updated prices, it looks like gold is now going down. It was up just like a few minutes ago. I had updated that. Now it looks like we're down $5,023.50 for gold, $81.65 for silver, $2,129.40 for USD, and palladium is at $1,640. Ultimately, I think gold is going to go to 10,000, 15,000. I see that happening. I think once this war kind of wraps up, as things kind of progress, again, I don't necessarily say we're going to be getting out of the war anytime soon, but I definitely see a lot of potential when I'm seeing these headlines here, right? So according to the UP or the AP here, the U.S. market's solidly higher while oil trades around $100 as Iran attacks more Gulf targets. So yeah, so as the Gulf targets, or as the Gulf states, right? Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, all these nations that are kind of fighting against Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who are big partners with the United States in our oil trades, this is kind of a battle for the Strait of Hormuz basically right now. Whoever wins the Strait of Hormuz wins the trade of the oil, right? So U.S. markets climbed into positive territory early Monday, and the price of oil dropped but remained elevated at around $100 a barrel as the Iran war entered its third week. Futures for the S&P 500 gained 0.6%, while Dow Jones Industrial Average futures rose 0.4%. NASDAQ futures rose 0.8%. U.S. benchmark crude fell 1.5% to $97.21 per barrel. It's up 45% since the war began. A barrel of Brent crude, the international standard, ticked up a fraction of the percent to $103.35. It climbed more than 40% since the war began. Since being attacked by the United States and Israel more than 2 weeks ago, Iran has been regularly hitting Israel, American bases, and its Gulf Arab neighbors' energy infrastructure with drones and missiles. It also retaliated by effectively stopping cargo traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, where a fifth of the world's oil typically sails. That has oil producers cutting production because their crude has nowhere to go. In just over a week since the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, more than 12 million barrels of oil equivalent per day has been taken offline, according to independent research firm Rystad Energy. Only a handful of tankers have reportedly passed through the strait. The truth is, at this point, much of the market is operating in the fog. Stephen Inns of SPI Asset Management said in commentary, for context, the strait normally handles roughly 25 oil and LNG tankers every single day. If the war continues to hamper the production and transportation oil from the Persian Gulf, it could cause a damaging surge in inflation. Members of the International Energy Agency are making a record of 400 million barrels of oil available from emergency reserves, though it appears to have done little to reassure markets. In early equities trading Monday, a handful of chip and data storage stocks led the way. Micron, Western Digital, SanDisk, and Intel all rose between 3 to 5% before markets opened. A deal between companies in the business of physical storage self-units was also moving shares. National Storage affiliates soared 26% in pre-market after it announced that it was being bought by Public Storage in an all-stock deal worth about $10.5 billion. Public Storage was down about 3.5% on the news. At midday in Europe, Germany's DAX edged 0.2% higher, while the CAC 40 in Paris was unchanged. Britain's FTSE 100 gained 0.5%. In Asia, Tokyo's Nikkei, I don't even know how to pronounce that, 225 edged 0.1% lower to $53,751.15, while the Kospi in South Korea climbed 1.1% to $5,549.85. Hong Kong's Hang Seng rose 1.5% to 25,834 after the Chinese government reported stronger than forecast economic data for February. The Shanghai Composite Index shed 0.3%, however, to $4,084.79. In Australia, the S&P 200 gave up 0.4% to $8,553.40. And so as we look at all of this, especially Taiwan right now is interesting. Taiwan's TAIEX edged 0.2% lower, while India's Sensex was little changed. Taiwan is currently being circled by China right now, according to news. We'll be looking at a lot of those stories later. And if you are listening, be sure to tune in, like, share, comment, subscribe, support the information. And this is kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at the markets. We're looking at oil. We're looking at all of this stuff real quick, just kind of popping into all the different markets right now and seeing what's up, seeing how all the markets ended, right? Crude oil futures. Again, when we looked at the oil futures and kind of the numbers for that, we realized that a lot of these numbers are going to be fluctuating a lot, okay, especially as this war persists. Again, I predict that oil will probably hit somewhere above $200 a barrel. I don't see us getting out of Iran anytime soon. I think that's clear. And again, with the rumors of Netanyahu's death, there could also be a lot that happens with that too. We don't really know if he's alive, right? They say he's alive. We saw a video that came out from Netanyahu today, a third video actually. There's already been 2 videos that have been debunked for being AI. I think 3 actually, and this will be the third one. So very interesting to see the developments there. But we're going to be getting into the Netanyahu story. We'll be talking about that, whether or not we think Netanyahu is actually dead or alive. We're going to look at all of the videos. We're going to analyze it. We're going to really break it down. Average U.S. long-term mortgage rate rises to 6.1%, back to where it was 5 weeks ago. So, yes, I have to say this to you as a real estate investor, as a real estate agent. The average long-term U.S. mortgage rate rose again this week, reflecting ongoing bond market jitters over the war with Iran. Benchmark 30-year fixed-rate mortgage rate ticked up 6.11% from 6% last week, mortgage buyer told Freddie Mac and said Thursday. 1 year ago, the rate averaged 6.65%. So we are a little bit lower if we compare it to the year ago. The average rate is now back to where it was 5 weeks ago. Just 2 weeks ago, it touched the lowest level in 3.5 years. It has been hovering around 6%. So what does this really mean? It means it's easier for you to get a house by a little bit. But at the end of the day, you still have 50-year mortgages in America. You still have to be careful because if you don't have enough equity and money saved up, it's pretty much pointless to invest in real estate, right? It doesn't really make sense to invest in real estate in such a case. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you're looking into all of this. Senate passes bipartisan housing bill to improve access and affordability. This also comes from the AP. The Senate passed a broad bill on Thursday to make U.S. housing more accessible and affordable, a rare bipartisan effort in Congress to address growing national problems. The bill, which passed 89-10, would reduce regulations, regulate corporate investors, and expand how housing dollars can be used to build affordable homes and rentals. It will now head back to the House, which passed a similar bill earlier this year. We have a housing shortage all across America, said Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, who worked with Republicans to win overwhelming support from both parties from the legislation. We need more housing of every kind, more housing for first-time home buyers, more housing for renters, more housing for seniors, more housing for people with disabilities, more rural community, more urban housing, more. Yeah, well, what about for young people, right? First time home buyers. Okay, but did they say young people here? Okay, Elizabeth Warren couldn't care less about whether or not young people can own a home in America, as she also doesn't even care about crypto. She hates crypto. She's very anti progressive when it comes to crypto. So, what makes you think that she cares about your real estate market? This is so they can get. So this is basically so they can end up taking your land, right? The legislation, she said, will help drive down prices. Yeah, but for who? Right? For who? The illegal immigrants who are coming in without question, who are just being let in here on boats and ships, and they're just being brought over here to take our jobs, our land, our dignity, our identity, everything from this country, and we're just giving it all to them. Yeah, so that's who Elizabeth Warren is really, that's who's in her interest, the free voters that they want to import illegally. Builder sentiments inches higher, but affordability concerns persist. Builder sentiment inches up in March, even as builders continue to express affordability concerns stemming from elevated construction costs and shortages of buildable lots and labor. So again, if you're an investor, if you're a contractor, if you somebody who would typically work with me, right? I'm your real estate agent. I'm the CEO of Gold Shark Media. I help business owners, contractors get more leads with goldsharkmedia.com. This website right here. We'll pop back to the article. That's a little bit of what we do, though. We help contractors and entrepreneurs. But if you're a real estate contractor, you're a real estate investor, you're somebody who's trying to make passive income on real estate, then it might be important that you work with me, Brendan Ecker. Shoot me a DM, because that's what this is really saying. It's telling you that things are going to be getting more expensive here, and that it's not going to be so easy to just build up real estate. Builder confidence in the market for newly built single-family homes rose 1 point to 38 in March, following a revised upward 1-point revision in February, according to the National Association of Home Builders. All responses to the March survey were received after the conflict with Iran started. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at supply chain issues now, because we are dealing with World War III. You can say that we're not in World War III, but I believe we are. Affordability for buyers and builders remains that top concern, said NAHB Chairman Bill Owens, and a home builder and remodeler from Worthington, Ohio. Many buyers remain on the fence, waiting for lower interest rates, and due to economic uncertainty, builders are facing elevated land and labor and construction costs, and nearly two-thirds continue to offer sales incentives in a bid to firm up the market. Think about that for a second. So that's like crazy bad buyer sentiment, right? So if you're a real estate investor, you're somebody who cares about money like myself, then this is not good. This war with Iran is really affecting things, right? And we're about to show you that. I'm about to show you a little bit about how that works, why things are happening the way that they're happening. So this is Glint. If you've never used Glint, it's very powerful for geopolitical analysis. You want to see what's going on with the war. You want to track what's happening with Israel and Iran and the strikes. This is exceptional because all of these little dots and blips that you see are essentially social media posts or major events, right? And anything in red are critical events. So critical event here, Pakistan launched a massive airstrike on Afghanistan. Aircraft reportedly attacked central Kabul. Fires have broken out in the capital, and thick smoke is rising over the city. So again, I love to use this for specifically geopolitical analysis, right? So we're watching what's happening in Israel, where we've all been really tracking what's going on in Tel Aviv and how many times it's been getting struck, right? A lot of things are happening. NBC, citing sources, Trump hopes Israel will halt its strikes on Iranian oil fields. So that was a big statement by Trump. Geopolitical Prime, Iran war updates, 400 dead in Pakistani strike on Kabul hospital, Afghan officials say. So that's huge. In a joint press release, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, and the United Kingdom oppose a major Israeli opposition. Geopolitics Prime, Iran updates show that Pakistani strikes rock Kabul. Yeah, so that's really been the big conversation. Israel's ground invasion of Lebanon raises questions about the country's ability to fight on many fronts, especially with a largely reservist army that is already exhausted by 2.5 years of war. So lots of big critical updates that are happening. President Trump is pressuring allies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz and relieve pressure on the global economy. So far, most of them aren't biting. Yeah, because what's happening is an unprovoked war, right? Because they want to control this little area right here that you're seeing. If you're watching this right now, We're focusing on the Strait of Hormuz. If you don't know what the Strait of Hormuz is right now because you've been living under a rock, it's this little area right here where my cursor is circling. This area is where all trade flows, and about 20% of the world's oil goes right through this strait. A lot of it goes to China. So when we're really looking at who benefits from this, China's winning big time. Because China, not only can they export that oil to themselves, but Russia's also winning, and that helps them with their siege on Ukraine and everything that's happening with that. And of course, when I say siege, I mean, really self-defense, right? Because we know that the Ukrainians really started this war with the Russians. Between sanctions relief and intelligence sharing, Russia is benefiting from the Iran war. Yes, they are. So that's, again, these are big things, okay? Listen to the Sarah Shoulder and Nat Draws on the Big Take podcast. So listen to that if you guys want to get their insight on it. But this just shows you, again, this is called glint.trade, and it gives you all of the ability to really analyze the hottest media stories that are happening around the planet. Pakistan launched a massive airstrike on Afghanistan. Yep, we already read that one. There's just like a ton of stories on here. Okay, you want to see what's going on in Europe? Lots is happening in Europe right now. Big things are happening in Europe. Between sanctions relief and intelligence sharing, Russia is benefiting from the Iran war. Yeah, we already read that. A lot of big developments, though. Right? Russia's foreign minister, Lavrov, for some reason, no one is concerned about the freedom of navigation in the areas. In Ireland, we have Major General Antonio Agudo left classified Ukrainian maps on a train on April of 2024. So this is just like one of the coolest apps you can really find, right? Over here in the United States, we got some big critical updates also 3 hours ago. I'm shocked. Trump exposes his own stupidity. They weren't supposed to, let's check this out. They weren't supposed to go after all of these other countries in the Middle East. Demented Donald whined, clearly expecting Iran to bow before God, Emperor Trump. So somebody had posted that, but that was apparently a big critical update that was listed on here, right? You also get to see the air traffic and things that are going on, where these flights are going, kind of who it is. A lot of the time you can't really see exactly who it is, right? But yeah, you want to see what's going on and monitor the situation, I recommend using Glint. Pretty cool stuff. So now I wanted to cover some of Trump's statements and some of the highlights from his event. He spoke today at the White House and gave some speeches on Iran and what he thought how that was going to go. So we're going to look at that. We're going to analyze really what you guys have to say about it. So let's take a look at this first video here.
Have Trump derangement syndrome.
I just want to ask you about something very interesting.
Let's react.
You said twice today that you talked to another former president about the Iran strikes.
I did.
Was it George W. Bush?
No.
Was it Bill Clinton?
I don't want to say.
Don't want to say.
I don't want to say. Because
it was Bill Clinton. It must have been like Bill Clinton or something, because Bill Clinton is like the only guy that Trump is like not willing to talk against, or Netanyahu, right? But that doesn't meet this conversation.
a member of a party, they have Trump derangement syndrome, but it's somebody that happens to like me, and I like that person is a smart person.
I think it's
but
Bill.
That person said, I wish I did it. Okay, but I don't want to get into who. Okay. I don't want to get.
He's talking
into
about Bill
trouble.
Clinton for sure.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, I think you probably know. You know, it's interesting. And maybe he'd be proud. And I could even ask him that. Would you like me to reveal your name to Peter at Fox? Well, at least you have high ratings.
Oh,
Your ratings
I'm going to reveal your name.
are through the roof, Peter.
Why did he say that?
Congratulations.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Trump looked pissed. He looked pissed that he got asked that question. Look at that. Let's look at that reaction one more time. Look at Trump, like he literally says, "Okay, I'm going to call your name out. I'm going to dox you."
But that person said, I wish I did it. Okay, but I don't want to get into who. Okay. I don't want to get him into trouble.
Look, Trump looks pissed. He looks like really mad.
Well, maybe, hey, you know what? Yeah, I think you probably know. You know, it's interesting. And maybe he'd be proud. And I could even ask him that. Would you like me to reveal your name to Peter?
Would you like me to reveal your name?
At Fox. Well, at least you have
Did he just dox the media?
ratings. Your ratings are through the roof, Peter.
Thank you for noticing.
Congratulations.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough. So I also wanted to look at this clip real quick, and I wanted to get your guys' take on this as well. What do you guys think about this clip here? Trump on Iran war. I had an obligation to do this. I didn't want to. I call it an excursion. I didn't want to make this journey. What do you guys think about this?
Can we wrap this war up this week?
Yeah, sure. Good.
Yeah, we could. Let's do
I
it.
don't think so, but it'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up.
So Trump has a way of flip-flopping, right? He'll say, well, we're going to be in this war for a while. Well, we're actually going to be in this. We're going to be leaving the war really soon, and about next week. We're only going to be there 4 to 5 weeks. And then next thing you know, he's saying, oh, we're gonna hit them harder than they've ever been hit. So really what's happening is doublespeak, and this is to hide the fact that we are going to be in this war with Iran for a long time.
It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to.
I hope it is, though. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, obviously, about my analysis.
I had an obligation to do this. I didn't want to. I call it an excursion. I don't want to make this journey. We had the highest stock market in history.
I have a feeling Trump really didn't want to make this journey, but he was blackmailed, and he also said he was gonna dismantle Iran's nuclear agreement, the Iran nuclear agreement. He said he was going to dismantle that, and so what does that mean? He was always really in this position to get us into war with Iran, is what that means.
We had low gas prices. Everything was good. And I know exactly. I know what, you're going to do it. And people are going to raise the price of oil. And that's good. But I know that. But that's a very small thing compared to.
I got to honestly say, I feel like this is the first time I really sense a little bit of Trump feeling defeated, actually. Like, for a guy who, he knows no defeat in his own brain. I mean, in his own psychopathy, psychology, psychography, whatever you want to call it, he really is a man who doesn't believe in defeat. And to me, this looks like a defeat right here. He looks like he realizes he's losing this war. And the reason is because he's kind of slouched in his chair. He's kind of throwing his hands up in the air. Interesting body language with this. Look at this.
Exactly. I know what, you're going to do it. And people are going to raise the price of oil. And that's good. But
yeah, you see what I mean? He looks bummed out.
But that's a very small thing compared to allowing them to have. You want to see a stock market go down? Start letting them hit you with nukes, okay? I think, I said it this morning, I think it's a very small price to pay.
Can we wrap this
Crazy,
war up
right?
this week?
That's a crazy clip. I also wanted to show this clip right here. What did you guys think about this as we're loading it here? Stand by. We're loading up. Make sure we're still good. Good. If you're tuning in, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe.
News alert: President Trump now speaking in the Oval Office alongside the Vice President. Let's listen into this right now.
Again, after we watch some of these updates from what Trump had to say from the White House, then we're obviously going to look into the Netanyahu rumored assassination. Is Netanyahu dead? We haven't heard from Netanyahu in 7 days now. And the only thing we have heard are these AI videos that have been released. And we know that they're AI because there's been multiple forms of software that have detected the videos that have been released by the Knesset and Israel and Netanyahu himself. These videos that were released by them are proven to be AI, right? We have Netanyahu with 6 fingers. It showed in his first video. His second video, it shows him holding a coffee at a cafe where it was literally destroyed, right? The cafe was literally destroyed. And then the third video we had, we see his wedding ring being removed. His wedding ring basically disappears as he's reaching for the chair about 26 to 27 seconds into that third release of him standing with his family and saying, no, see, I'm still alive. Here are my hands. But it's completely and totally AI. And I'm telling you this as somebody who builds AI. I build AI. I use AI. I create AI all day. A lot of the most viral stuff you guys see on Twitter X, I've made it. And so a lot of people don't know that. But I own a lot of those anonymous accounts that you guys see out there, right? So I'm used to making the AI content, not war content, but I can make that if I wanted to. I could make the same thing of showing anybody, any person appearing to be alive, right? You can do this with a photograph of Martin Luther King Jr. You plug it into Grok Imagine. You get 11 Labs to dub the voice, then sync it up inside of CapCut, and you're good to go. You basically just created an AI dub, right? But anyways, we're gonna break those videos down very shortly here in probably another 10 minutes once we look at these clips from Trump and the rest of these highlights from his speech from the White House today. Donald Trump.
This is going to launch a whole of government approach to rooting out the very serious problem of fraud in federally funded programs around the country.
Yeah, I wonder if this is even going to work.
You've been seeing it, and seeing it pretty big in Minnesota, $19 billion. But that's only for one little aspect of the fraud. It's $19 billion,
Sure.
and California, as they say, is 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah.
Other states are.
I bet it
10.
is.
This is not a Republican-Democrat thing. This is wherever it's taking place. It seems that it's.
How about you start with Howard Lutnick, though? We got to start with Howard Lutnick. Why is Howard Lutnick making billions of dollars off of the tariffs by recouping what the Supreme Court basically is shooting down, right? Howard Lutnick basically positioned himself to profit from the tariff buybacks. What's up with that? These are the people that need to be going first. This is the Epstein syndicate. This is the Epstein crime syndicate. And until Trump calls it out, and until he, does what he needs to do to tell the truth about it, then he's one of them in my eyes. And he should be seen as a Democrat.
Blue states.
And not just a Democrat, because it's not about Republican or Democrat anymore either. It's about right versus wrong, good versus evil. It's about America first versus Israel first, in my opinion. That's how we should be measuring our citizens today. Are you America first or not?
If it's in a red state, we're going there too. But it seems that it's heavily, heavily, heavily Democrat. And what they.
Alert President Trump.
So that was that clip. I really, again, this is not about Republicans and Democrats. It's not. It never has been. It's always been left versus right. It's always been the Jews and the Freemasons versus everybody else. That's just the way things go. And that always has been. If you want to look up the doctrines, go ahead. Look for yourself. We can do the research. Go on my YouTube channel. I posted a bunch of shorts today, encapsulating a lot of these different clips, showing you, maybe some of this, what you could call evidence of what I'm saying, right? So go check my YouTube shorts on Ecker Geopolitics if you don't believe me. The source is all there. The information's all there. So this was from Eric Doherty, VP J.D. Vance, back at whether he opposes President Trump's war. Look, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to drive a wedge between members of the administration, between me and the president. So let's take a look at this clip of J.D. Vance pretty much standing up for the war completely, not standing up to Trump, trying to get us out of it. Not good. He should be standing up against Trump to get us out of the war. Sorry, video's just loading here.
I think that I know what you're trying to do, Phil. You're trying to drive a wedge between members of the administration, between me and the president. What the president said consistently, going back to 2015, and I agreed with him, is that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. We have taken this military action under the president's
I think Israel should not have a nuclear weapon.
leadership. I think all of us, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, should pray for success and pray for the safety of our troops.
Dude, Trump does not look happy. Look at this body language. I've never seen this on Trump. I mean, I've been following this dude for a long time, since 2016. I was a big Trump supporter, but I have never seen Trump look so weak, so grinded down. Look at this.
That's the approach that I've taken. Make it as successful as
He looks irritated. He looks just totally like nobody's on his side, which in this instance, they shouldn't be. We should have never gone to war with Iran.
possible.
So there's no hesitation, given your past statements, with the current operation?
What do you mean there's no hesitation with my past statements?
Given your skepticism of foreign adventurism, you were a critic of the global war on terror previously.
Well, I think one big difference, Phil, is that we have a smart president, whereas in the past we've had dumb presidents. And I trust President Trump to get the job done, to do a good job for the American people.
Trump was smart. He was smart. He was doing good things, and then he blew it. He became George Bush again.
I want to make sure that the
Just like the
mistakes
rest of
past
them.
aren't repeated. Absolutely.
Thanks, sir.
Look, JD's been great. But here's the simple thing, and I have, some people, I don't want wars. I want wars less than almost anybody.
I don't think that's true. I think everybody in the room chuckled when they heard that. I would have laughed if I heard Trump say, I don't want war. Trump is like a wartime president. I mean, if you understand the psychology of somebody like Donald Trump, and if you think this is a guy who's not going to go to war, then you don't understand the psychography of Donald Trump. You don't understand the mind of these people, of the elites in general. Elites and people who ascend to this echelon of power, whether it be in politics or lobbyism or philanthropy, you name it. They're going to be like this. They want success. It's scoreboard for them. It's all about the scoreboard. They've already made money. You haven't, right? You haven't made money. You haven't exceeded beyond great power, right? You have not made so much money that you can buy a few different ivory towers in a few different countries, right? These people can. And so that's kind of the divide that we have. And so these people are so beyond what your desires are for them to make your gas prices lower and to make your housing prices lower. How does that benefit them? who owns like billions of dollars worth of real estate, doesn't it only benefit those people who own real estate, landlords, investors? It only invests them. It only helps them because the prices are going up, right? They're only making the prices go up on these assets, so they can become wealthy. But ultimately, I mean, it's a question of what do we want our country to be? Do we want to live in a country that has high standards, where we have competition and it's not just so easy to get a house, and so that way, you're not attracting the worst kind of people into your neighborhoods, whatever those might be, criminals, illegal immigrants, and those kind of things, whether it be pedophiles. You don't want bad people in your neighborhood. And the best way to keep those people out is by keeping the prices high. Because guess what? Whether you like it or not, rich people tend to know the game a little bit better than you do. That's why they're sitting in the position that Trump is. So psychologically, you have to understand that people like Donald Trump, they are wartime presidents. This is a warlord that you're looking at. This is not a peaceful politician, go-lucky guy.
I think Cuba, in its own way, if tourism and everything else, it's a beautiful island, great weather. They're not in a hurricane zone, which is nice for a change. They won't be asking us for money for hurricanes every week. But I think,
All right.
all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. When will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba.
Hey, you know what? I want Cuba. I think Cuba's great. I think we should take Cuba. However, not while we're at war with Iran. We have no business being in a war with Iran because we can't control the Eastern Hemisphere as well as we can control the Western Hemisphere. I'm all down for taking Cuba. I'm down for taking Greenland and Venezuela and Colombia even. We should think about those things as America. We're the strongest nation on earth, at least still to this day. We're losing that a lot. But with that being said, we need to maintain that power. And there's nothing wrong with, maintaining the Western power here on our side of the hemisphere, right? That's kind of the Monroe Doctrine. That's what I believe in. I believe in that. Taking Cuba, why not? However, taking Iran, why do we need that? We need to have the entire world's oil supply. Like, we already have Venezuela, which is 94% of the world's oil supply, and the United States is already oil enriched. So think about that. We basically have a total surplus of oil, and it's the one thing they're not going to tell you. It's kind of like the pharmaceutical companies. They're going to tell you that this stuff is expensive to make, that it's so hard to make, it needs to be charged really high, and it's all for arbitrage. It's all to make some money for people who are entrepreneurs and they think about money all day long, right? This is the downside of capitalism, because capitalism, this is the abuse of capitalism, where you have all of the benefits of capitalism, independence, starting your own business, all of these things, and then you kind of abuse it for power, and then you become irresponsible with it. And then worst comes to worst, you let yourself become, what's the word I'm looking for here? Somebody like Trump, he's become blackmailed. He's become corrupted in many ways, I believe.
That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
And I think on his own face, he knows it.
Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I could do anything I want.
Yes. I love that, though. See, that's the shit I like. This is the stuff I like about Trump. This is the stuff I like about an American president. We're going to take it. We're going to just take it. Like, I like the attitude and I like the energy, but it has to be strategically be beneficial for the United States. The timing also has to be correct. The regime has to be correct. The feelings of the regime. Right now, Cuba is pretty much undergoing an entire power outage, so it's not really the worst time to be making these moves. Cuba should have already been on our list, and this should have been what we had already focused on right after Venezuela. But Israel got us into this war with Iran, and now we are facing potentially a 10 to 20-year war. 10 troops died today, by the way, U.S. troops, and U.S. troops are getting bombed all over the place in Saudi Arabia right now. So we're not really winning this war, and the Strait of Hormuz is closed. China is getting all the oil. It's not going good for the U.S. We are losing right now. And we might not be able to take Cuba if we really want to continue doing what we're doing to all these other countries, these sovereign countries. Again, I'm not talking about Cuba and Venezuela, countries we should and can control, but I'm talking about, again, nations like Iran. These are sovereign, independent nations. These are not nation states. These are nations. They're a proud people. They believe in their regime. They believe in their movement, their religion. They are not just going to, bend over to the Jews and Trump or to the Christians here in the United States or Catholics. It's not their religion. This is a completely different people than us, than Christians, Catholics. You know, they're not really that different from the Jews, right? Because of a lot of what their religions believe fundamentally, and what, you know, the consequences for not believing in their religions have pretty much the same exact consequence, right? And so with that being said, it's just very sad to see where we're at right now. Even Trump just looks totally defeated. I've honestly never seen him like this.
Weakened nation right now. They were for a long time.
Looks like he doesn't really know what to say.
Very violent leaders. I think Cuba, I don't know, is in a...
So yeah, I mean, that's that video. What do you guys think about that? Are you guys feeling pretty good about it? How are you guys feeling about the war? How are you guys feeling about all of it? Here's another statement from Trump.
Done a great job. And when we want to know, do you have any minesweepers? Well, would rather not get involved, sir. I said, for 40 years we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved in something that is very minor. Very few shots going to be taken because they don't have many shots left.
No nation wants to be involved in this war because they know, every nation knows it's a 20-year war. This is I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why Trump would be on board for this. I mean, unless he was, you know, completely subservient to the state of Israel this entire time and just completely trading on his entire voter base, you know.
But they said, we'd rather not get involved. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that that was said, because when, you know, I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them, and if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us. I've just known that for a long period of time, just like I
Yeah,
knew.
in many respects, that's true, though. Like, I really believe that if we actually were not the aggressors in this war, and if we had if we were Israel right now, and, you know, we asked the entire world to come to our aid, let's just not even say we were Israel. Let's just say the United States was not Israel, and let's just say we weren't bombarding all these countries unprovoked. Let's just say the United States was like Canada or China, right? Staying out of it, doing their own thing, building their infrastructure, really just minding their own business. What do you think that would be like, you know, compared to now? None of these countries want to be involved in a war where it's like it's going to bring their nations down. And, of course, anything to bring the United States down, they're going to let it happen. We're the greatest empire. Why would they help the greatest empire when we're weak? You know, and Trump is not realizing that. He is in this reality distortion field.
About the Strait, that it would be a weapon. Done a great job.
And so that was the statement from Trump on the Strait of Hormuz and why no other nations are coming to our aid. Well, it's like, again, they don't want to be involved in a 20-year war. It's not that they don't even want to back us. It's like, you know, they're just smart. Their leaders are too smart. They're not dumb enough to get dragged into this thing when it's like, what, go fight and die for Israel? This is not our war. We're dying for Israel. Our soldiers are dying for the United States of Israel.
Just want to ask you about something very interesting that you said twice today. That you talked to another former president about the Iran strikes. Was it George W. Bush?
No.
Was it Bill
I think we watched that. I think we watched this clip already. We watched this. Yeah, I think that was Bill Clinton that he was talking to personally. What do you guys think? I think it's crazy. You know, I think it's crazy. This was funny. Trump totally called him out, said what he wasn't supposed to say. Check this out.
Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire.
Watch
What
Trump.
was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay, that's. It was grim. That's what I was.
Fucking
say.
Trump. Like, what? This guy just has no filter.
I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay, that's. It was grim. That's what I was going to say. I don't think
With
he
a
was
heart
my-
problem, by the way. This
Oh
was
my
a heart
God.
problem.
So, long story short,
So Trump is totally just trolling Mike Johnson, if you haven't been able to tell. Also, another really crazy observation. Trump has not drank from his glass one time. He didn't drink from his glass one time. I noticed Mike Johnson and everybody else was drinking from their water. Everybody else was drinking from their glass. Trump is in a very dangerous position right now.
the president called him to encourage.
Did you see that? He even smacked him hard like that. Something's going on in this room.
Short. The president called him to encourage him and thank him, and they had a conversation.
Look at the disrespect. This is why it's hard to not love Trump, though. Like the aura, though.
Long story short, the president called him to
He
encourage
just smacks him on the
him
back.
and thank him, and they had a conversation, and the president.
It's
Congressman
hilarious. You can't not love it to some degree. It is kind of hilarious. It's unfair for Iran to fight back after we started a war with them, end quote. That's the same thing Israel has been saying about the Palestinians for 75 years. Absolutely, Stu Peters, win. W. Stu Peters. Look at this clip. Once it decides to play. If it ever plays. Let's see. How great will my luck be? It's not looking great.
And so it's a little unfair. You know, you win a war, but they have no right to be doing what they're doing. But we're hitting them very hard, and today is a big day. We're pounding a certain area that has to do with the Strait, and I think we'll get it going very soon. So
that was Trump's statements there. For that, Iran is a nation of great power, tremendous power. Let's listen to this one more time. This is about a minute long.
Iran,
Again, we're just looking at some highlights from what Trump had to say today from the White House. I was actually going to do a live stream of it earlier, but it kind of just popped up quick, so I didn't really have time to prepare the stream.
Iran, who's truly
Let's take a listen to this.
A nation of great terror and
great terror
and power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East.
Everything he's saying about Iran, though, as I always say, it really should be directed towards Israel. He's talking about Israel, in my opinion. This is the gaslighting that we see every day, right?
Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that.
We bombed a school of 195 innocent Iranian children, allegedly, as far as we know. I mean, how can we not expect something to happen from that? We bombed and killed and assassinated the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, and then his son was also killed. So or at least he's in a coma. And so their entire army is fighting for their sovereignty, their life, their country. What if Israel was doing what they're doing to Iran right now to us? What if Israel was allied with China and they, as two nations, were teaming up on America? What happens then? This is the stuff that's going to be remembered in history. This is the stuff that, the history books will remember what America did during these times. And this is what destroys nations. It's not wars itself that destroys nations. It's the country who starts the wars that destroy nations.
And the other one, they fought back. They could have yielded. But think of it, if we weren't around, they had tremendous power. They had thousands of missiles, most of which...
Yeah, and they can make them much cheaper than we can.
Thousands of drones. They were making drones and missiles all over the place. We've knocked out most of those factories. I mean, now they're sending out 2 or 3 missiles. Now, they've still got some. They might have 8% left. But mostly they've been eliminated. They've been terminated by what we did.
That's not true.
And what Israel did, too.
There's a lot more manufacturing that's going to be done. According to the IRGC, there's a lot more that they plan on doing. They actually only released a lot of their older military tech, a lot of their older missiles. They have a lot more where that came from. And here's the kicker. It's cheap for them to make their own missiles. They manufacture their own goods, and a lot of the time, a lot of the drones are manufactured in Ukraine. So this is cheap This is cheap military tech for Iran and a lot of the people on that side of on the earth. On our side of the earth, we're the greatest empire. What does that mean? Our economy is the largest. What does that mean? That means our products are most. Our bombs are the most. Our defense contracting manufacturing companies are the most. Lockheed Martin, DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Right? Boston Dynamics. You look at Foundation Robotics, all these different companies, expensive stuff. Foundation Robotics just released the Phantom MK1. It's over $130,000 just for one full manned unit. And this manned unit is supposed to be like a modern day iRobot, like a soldier, like a Call of Duty Black Ops 3 real life humanoid robotic soldier. $130,000 in the United States for that. Well, it's like, who's to say these other countries with the same amount of information and knowledge to, building this, why can't they build it cheaper? They absolutely can build it cheaper. So that's something to be afraid of. Definitely something to take seriously. So let's look at this clip. We have 45,000 troops in Japan, 45,000 in Korea, 50,000 in Germany. Let's look at this.
45,000 troops in Japan. We have 45,000 troops in South Korea. We have 45,000, 50,000 troops in Germany. We defend all these countries. And then, do you have any minesweepers? And they say, well,
Minesweepers.
would it be possible
Yeah,
for
we
us
got
not
those.
to get involved? I've been saying it for a long time.
If you don't know what minesweepers are, basically they basically get naval mines like out of the way. So the big moment. Now let's look into the Netanyahu assassination and whether or not Netanyahu is actually dead or alive. Do you think Netanyahu is dead or alive? I've already had a couple posts removed because they said it was false information and that I was lying. And it's like, no, we were analyzing, right? And so here's what we're analyzing. So this was a video released by Prime Minister Netanyahu today, 4 hours ago. This is his most recent video that Netanyahu released. To the brave people of Iran, I wish you, as I do every other year, happy holiday season, beginning with the Festival of Lights. It signifies the age-old belief of the Iranian people that light will triumph over darkness, that good will triumph over evil. So what is this? What is this message? One, it definitely looks to me to be AI generated, because there's even a point in this message where we're going to look at the screenshot. I'll let you go back. Look at this. This is why people were saying this version was AI. Another six-fingered Netanyahu. 1, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, right here behind the sensor. That's why they put the captions on it. 4 fingers. There's that 5th finger right there, if you can see that, right where my cursor is. And then there's his thumb right here. And then behind that, you see his other fingers. So what's up with that? And you can see this with the other videos as well. So let's take a look at this. This is the most recent video. Again, just really weird stuff, right? Really weird, really weird.
To the brave people of Iran.
What's also interesting is that the message that was sent to Iranians was happy holidays. That was it. It wasn't really, we're going to continue bombing you. We're going to take Lebanon. We're going to do what we want. The typical Israeli message. This was almost like a message of truce, a message of surrender in some ways, is the way I interpreted this.
To the brave people
Or false surrender, of course.
of Iran.
Do I think Netanyahu is alive? I don't think he is alive. I think if he is alive, then he has fled to Berlin, because we did see reports that he had, there was rumors that he had fled to Berlin about 4 weeks ago. So that was all over X, and people were talking about that, and it kind of vanished into the news. Nobody's really talking about it now. So I do think Netanyahu, if he is still alive, then they're going to do what they did to Adolf Hitler, where they allowed him to escape to Argentina, or what they're going to do to Napoleon, where they allowed him to also be exiled and basically to live out the rest of his days as a dead man, basically. So that's kind of what I think probably happened. I don't think Netanyahu is actually dead, no matter what they say, because I think somebody of that kind of power level, I doubt that they actually got him. I doubt that they actually killed him. And if they did, the signs of that are that the media is acting really weird about it. So if Netanyahu was really killed, then I think the media would have all, done exactly what they're doing now. They would have been really shady about his death. They would not say he died. They would show you'd see videos, weird, suspicious things, right? The inconsistencies. We've seen, if you go back on my older videos, we go through the Twitter's algorithms and we find the videos of Netanyahu's family mourning. And this was just a couple days after the strikes on his place. He's also missed 7 different security briefings, Netanyahu. His son hasn't been heard from in many, many weeks now. And same thing with his wife. So his entire family's pretty much gone, right? So we don't know what happened. And Netanyahu's brother was also struck. Okay, so this was the most recent AI video that was released. Well, we don't know if it's AI. It's saying that it's not AI, but I think that this was used by Palantir's AI tech. And I think if you really pay attention behind the sensors, where these sensors are in the video, that's kind of where you're going to be able to see the transition of his fingers. That'll be the dead giveaway.
I wish you, as I do every year, a happy holiday season, beginning with the Festival of Light.
So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we got 5 there. 1, 2, 3. Just, you got to look and count. You got to see yourself. You got to almost pause it frame by frame.
People, that light will triumph over darkness, that good will triumph over evil. This year, this holiday has special meaning. Celebrate it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I take this opportunity to wish you a happy
What do you think?
Nowruz,
Did you guys see anything in this yet?
year of freedom, a new beginning of hope to all of you, my dear friends.
What also tells me that this could be AI.
Payonde Iran.
So one mistake that they made in this video as well that they did last time is they showed Netanyahu's teeth changing. His teeth, he has teeth on this side of his mouth where you can see my cursor right here. This side of his mouth, he has no teeth. And then every time he opens his mouth, the teeth will be there again.
People of Iran.
So pay close attention right here again where my cursor is. And that's where you're going to really see that. See, now he had teeth there and now he doesn't. Teeth there and now he doesn't.
A happy holiday.
Are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? You can really see it right there. You got to focus on the teeth. Frame by frame, that's what you need to kind of pay attention to. No teeth. See it?
A happy
No teeth.
holiday season beginning with the Festival of Lights.
And then sometimes when he opens his mouth, there will be teeth there all of a sudden. So that's one reason I think this is AI.
That light will try.
Also, if you look at the graphics on the books, they look like they're AI. This looks pixelated, highly pixelated. They're not very clear, the writing on the books. I'm not saying this is fully an AI video, but it looks like something I could have generated myself.
Triumph over darkness, that good will triumph over evil. This year, this holiday has special meaning. Celebrate it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I take this opportunity to wish you a happy Nowruz, a year of freedom, a new beginning of hope to all of you, my dear friends.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So that was the video he released today. Let's look at this video now. This was the other video. This was the first. Now this was the first video he released, and this was released March 13th, right? So just 3 days ago, this was an AI video that was released by the Knesset in Israel, saying that this was Netanyahu. Here's the only problem. Boom. What's up with the pinky? There's no pinky. Right here. No pinky. Okay. So you look at that. That's pretty telling, right? And then we go to this video. And you see this. So we have 6 fingers. So no pinky on this video. And then on the other video that I'm about to show, you have, or on this video, you have 6 fingers on his left hand in the same video. And now it's not playing it. So yeah, right here. Look at that. That's crazy. And then his second video that Netanyahu ended up releasing was this one. And so if you pay attention, and again, a lot of people already ran this through AI, and it was 96.9%. The input is likely to be AI generated from Sora 2, Cosmos, ITX, and then Higgsfield. So there's lots of different AI softwares you can use to do this. But let's look at it. Let's look at it even closer. Nothing's falling out of this cup. It's full, totally full. There's also, pay attention to the pattern swirl of the latte. It never changes, even after he drinks it. It doesn't dissipate. It doesn't go away. So it stays the same. You also need to pay attention to his pocket. A lot of people are saying that his pocket was another version of the AI there. It's when he puts his hand back into his pocket, supposedly. If it shows it in here. Yeah, so, and then here's the even crazier part about this video. Did you know that this picture was taken in 2024? And even crazier, that this coffee shop he's in was already bombed, has already been bombed by Iran. So he's standing right now. If this is a real video, then they rebuilt this entire coffee shop after it had already been bombed over these past few days and let Netanyahu come and get coffee. Why is nothing spilling either? It couldn't be more obvious that it's AI. There's also no emotion in his eyes. So that should tell you, I mean, he never has emotion, right? You could say that. You could argue that. Then this was the video he posted yesterday. The second video that the Knesset released of Netanyahu of basically stating that he's alive. Okay, so this is 1 minute and 31 seconds. And did you notice he's wearing the same exact jacket in the last video? It's like they used the same exact photo. They used the same photo. So this is the same jacket, same outfit. They're speaking Yiddish, so I don't know what they're saying. Can't read the subtitles. Another reason I think this is AI is because the picture and the kind of the resolution, right? The buy rate of the video is very loose. So it's it kind of tells you that there very well could be AI. All right. We're getting close to it. It's right here. 27 seconds in. Pay attention to his wedding ring. Right now. Right now. Ready? It's going to disappear. Boom. It totally disappears. And then it comes back. Look at this. Boom. Disappears. Disappears. And it's gone. Then it's there again. One more time. There's the wedding ring. It disappears and it's gone. And you put it in slow motion. So let's put it in slow-mo now. Frame by frame. Where's the wedding ring? Where'd it go? You guys see it, right? There's his wedding ring right here. And then one frame over and it's gone. No wedding ring. Sorry, I lost it there. Look at this, though. Boom. No wedding ring on that finger. What's up with that? What is up with that? Netanyahu is dead. I don't think he's alive, because if he was alive, then it would be a big story. Or this is just part of the PSYOP to get everybody talking about it and to get everybody believing a lie. Kind of like 9/11, right? So I always say question everything no matter what. Maybe he is alive. Maybe he just fled to a different country. That's what I honestly think. I think if Netanyahu ends up being dead, if this ends up becoming a mainstream media that Netanyahu is dead, then I think he probably fled the country. He's probably in Berlin. He's probably in anywhere where he could basically live out the rest of his days undetected, kind of like Hitler did. Because they're at the same level right now. They are both hated at the same level by the entire planet. Not that these two were really the same either. Hitler was kind of hated due to propaganda and a lot of different reasons. But ultimately at the same reason. So yeah, this is allegedly the video they say is real of Netanyahu. Also, his nose is smaller here. I noticed his nose is also smaller here. So that's interesting to me. Sorry if you guys hear got a cat meowing behind me. But yeah, if you look at his nose, it's not the same nose as Netanyahu's nose. It's not the same. So that's not good. That ain't Netanyahu. That's an AI video. And I say that as somebody who builds AI. I build AI systems. I do this all the time. I make these kind of videos for fun all the time. You know, a lot of the viral stuff you guys see on Twitter X, I've created that. So, and a lot of the AI stuff you guys have already seen. So again, I don't really know what he's saying here. And so, yeah, what do you guys think about that? That's crazy. That's crazy. And so then when we look at other videos, again, here's one more clip in slow-mo of exactly kind of what happened here. Look at that. You can see his hand switches and has no wedding ring. Look at that. Crazy right here. Pay attention one more time. This was from the second video, not from the video today that was released. Insane. Then the wedding ring totally disappears like I just showed you guys. Wild. Isn't that fucking crazy? This is the Matrix. This is what it is. This is what the Matrix is, guys. Are you in the Matrix? Are you falling for the scam? What do you believe is real anymore? The simulation is what you make it. But as far as I'm concerned, Netanyahu, if he's not dead, he has fled and he is making an exit from the war, either through death or by, again, deception. So this, again, here's the observation. Trump not touching that drink. I watched the entire thing. Everyone else took sips. He is very worried right now about the possibility of someone poisoning him. That's insane. Oh, sorry. I can't play the music there. I don't want to get copyright. Look at this. Crazy. So if you really focus, Trump never takes a drink. He also keeps the little cap on top of his water. Insane. Then everybody else takes a drink. It's like they want him to die. And again, I know this is just social media. We're just analyzing Twitter X posts here, but ultimately, fundamentally, crazy. Crazy. They are definitely, and it looks like Trump even knows. Looks like everybody knows. Everybody's drank their water. Even Pam Bondi's there. Trump looks like he figured it out. Is Trump good or evil? What do you guys think? Is Trump a part of the Epstein crime syndicate, or is he in the shadows trying to take them all down? What do you guys think is going to end up? So now let's look into some news. Again, wrapping up on the Netanyahu story. Do I think he's alive? No, I don't think Netanyahu's alive. I think that we're going to learn that he was killed in the strikes, A, or B, I think he probably fled to Berlin. Because again, 4 weeks ago, before all of this even started, he had fled to Berlin. There was flight trackers showing flights going to Berlin, taking him to Berlin. So I think that's a very, very, very likely possibility that he's probably not anywhere near Israel. I don't know why he would be. I certainly, if I was Netanyahu or Trump's Secret Service, I certainly wouldn't let them anywhere near the battlefields. Absolutely not. At the very least, you'd have a body double there, maybe. But so I don't think Netanyahu is. I don't think he's alive, but I don't think he's alive. And when I say that, I mean he's either like actually dead by a missile strike, or I think he is out of the war, like he's faked his death. One of the two. That's kind of my conspiracy theory, if you needed to label it as something. But that's kind of my theory on it. What do you guys think?
Breaking news, Israel has taken a huge amount of damage, and last night Iran launched one of the biggest attacks yet. Well, once again, Iran was using the infamous Khorram Shah missiles. These are missiles which travel long distance and break up into over 80 pieces above Israel, so that the Israeli air defense system gets confused and cannot shoot down the main missile. And because Iran has been using these missiles for the last 2 weeks, they've caused a huge amount of damage to the Israeli air defense systems, meaning every single night, including last night, the damage to Israel gets worse and worse, because Israel simply just can't shoot down the missiles anymore. But the videos we're getting out of Tel Aviv and the rest of Israel last night are crazy.
Crazy.
These videos
Yeah, it
coming
is
out
crazy.
from last night show buildings being caught in massive fires, huge amounts of damage, cars being turned over, etc. And it's safe to say every single night Iran is increasing the number of attacks they're carrying out onto Israel, and therefore the amount of damage Israel is taking is increasing too. Iran seems to have learned that the more missiles they fire towards Israel, the more it confuses Israel's air defense systems, meaning Israel takes more damage percentage-wise. And so it's likely once again tonight the attacks will continue even more than they did last night. And so once again I'll keep you up to date on the attacks tonight and tomorrow morning when we find out the damage. And so leave me a follow, because I'm going to cover stuff that you won't find anywhere else, that other people are too afraid to.
Yeah, and we say to there's a couple of videos from Alex Barnicoat. Give him a follow that we're going to watch. But we'll be covering a few of his videos that he released. 2 hours ago, it appears the war with Iran is set to expand in scale, and a major escalation may lie ahead. Trump's planned visit to China in April has been postponed amid the ongoing war with Iran. Because of the war, I want to be here. I feel the need to be here. Therefore, we requested to postpone the visit, by about a month. So then, again, there's some footage. There's music in there, so I can't play the sound. But yeah, that's just some of the footage of what's going on. All the military logistics that are happening. Big things going down. We are winning in Tehran and losing in Jerusalem. Israeli ex-defense minister slams government. Benny Gantz calls for evacuating all southern Lebanon. Direct negotiations with Lebanon, but under fire. Continue to strike Hezbollah. We must not stop. So they're blaming Hezbollah as their... Okay, so let's make one thing clear. Israel is not fighting Hezbollah or Hamas. They're pillaging Christian villages right now in Lebanon. They're dropping white phosphorus bombs over Lebanon right now. That is happening. And we'll cover it. We're going to see videos of it. We're going to be going through the live X in a moment. We're just looking through some of my bookmarks that I wanted to save, talking about some of those videos. And we're definitely going to be covering the truth here, Because the fact of the matter is that this war was perpetrated by Israel. They want Lebanon. They want Turkey. They want Syria. They want it all. They want Iran for the greater Israel project, Pax Judaica. And what's also interesting in this video is that it's not Netanyahu speaking here. Why is that? Why is it the Israeli ex-defense minister?
צהריים טובים. הבית הזה באופסייד מהעם.
So I'll translate this a little bit, start this over, and we'll talk about what he's saying. So, good afternoon, he says. The House is out of touch with the people. We are winning in Tehran and losing in Jerusalem. Instead of focusing on dismantling the regime in Tehran, this House is busy splitting the role of the Attorney General. Instead of focusing solely on keeping Hezbollah away from the border, we are dealing with laws that push Jews away from the Western Wall, instead of addressing the needs of people sitting in shelters in the north. We are busy benefiting TV channels close to the government. The colleagues in this House from the coalition, where are you trying to go? Do you think my son and kids in the reserves care about the judicial oversight law or about protecting friends' backs? The gap between the people and the House of the people has never been greater. And I call upon the Knesset and its members of the coalition to get your act together. Take responsibility. As someone who served 22 years in Lebanon and was the last soldier to leave the security zone evacuated by a government decision, I call on the government today to make a decision. To evacuate Israeli settlements, yes, to evacuate all of southern Lebanon until another option is possible. From the first house in the village of Kila to the last house near the Kasamiya Bridge, I support direct negotiations with the Lebanese government, but they will only take the place under fire strike Hezbollah after the previous agreement with the Lebanese government. I said it wasn't good enough. He says it will be tested by the test of determination. We have reached that test, and we must not blink. Until Hezbollah is dismantled, we must continue to dismantle its military. If the Lebanese government wants to take the responsibility, recognize the state of Israel, and dismantle Hezbollah, they are more than welcome. That is what I told the senior political officials, and this is what I am telling the public. Deeply connected with Lebanese society, I know that if we go all with our military strength and all diplomatic wisdom, we can achieve normalization with Lebanon within months, dismantle Hezbollah, and bring complete peace to the residents of the north. Therefore, despite all the difficulties, we must not stop. Thank you. So this was a statement that was made by Benny Gantz calling for the evacuation of all southern Lebanon. Again, they are portraying this as they are fighting Hezbollah and Hamas, when it's like, no, you're ethnically cleansing Lebanon the way that you did Gaza. They're going to do the same thing. They need that land for greater Israel. And they actually only want Lebanon for more of a national security purpose. Kind of the way the United States wants Greenland. We want to use Greenland for really basically for our Air Force and our Navy. Right? And so we want to have this stronghold, so we have this security wall, basically. And we're going to use another country to do it. Right? You use your geography. So that's kind of what Israel's doing. They're using their geography, Lebanon, and basically they're going to try to take that for security. And then after that, they'll be trying to take Turkey, because they're already making statements how they want Turkey. And then they also want Ukraine, and they want to stretch it up all the way to there, because that's really the greater Israel project. And it also goes even to Egypt. So this is a very big thing that's happening historically. Whether or not it happens depends on the people and whether or not people will resist it. Breaking, the Israelis released footage of the moment they criminally struck a police jeep yesterday in central Gaza, murdering 8 police officers. Industrial scale murder. Imagine that, a bunch of cops. Imagine in your own country, you're the prime minister of Israel. You got a bunch of cops that are trying to help a bunch of homeless people. Maybe they don't, you think they don't belong in your country. And then you just bomb the cops. That's basically what just happened in Israel. Bombing their own people. Crazy. They'll call them Hezbollah if anything comes up about it. Wild. And so as we hear about how bad Lebanon is, Lebanon has just raised one of the largest statues of Jesus, the Redeemer, in the Middle East on Jabal al-Salib in Al-Kay, overlooking the Bekaa Plain, a symbol of faith and hope. The wider religious site is still under construction as the work of the church continues. So it's crazy to look at this. The Christ stands tall as Israel is truly trying to conquer and annex Lebanon right now. So what will they do with this cross? I predict that the Israelis will do whatever they can to destroy this. They really will. So they don't want anything Christian existing, according to their own doctrines. So the largest Christ statue ever built. One of the largest statues. Crazy. Amen. Someone pointed Claude Code to Pentagon's public budget and asked to find contracts overpaying by 10x. 340 flagged. $4.2 billion in undercuts. Then it wrote a business proposal, and AI told him to register on SAM.gov. Agent AI is already drafting the first bid. That's wild. So this is the power of AI, ladies and gents. This is what you can do with a little bit of artificial intelligence, a little bit of time, dedication. You care about making money. You care about learning, being intrinsically curious about information, data collection. It's not as nerdy as you think. It's pretty cool stuff. This is how the world is going to be running, at least until they put out the entire power grid, right? So big stuff, big stuff. Wild footage, IDF soldiers playing or partying in Tel Aviv cheer when an Iranian missile is intercepted. Little message from Alex Jones. Let's take a look. Let's see what Alex Jones has to say. The legend.
Trump is saying you either declare your support and allegiance to Mark Levin against Israel, or you're not.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys see that? The Mark Levin thing? Yeah, we'll go to that in a second.
MAGA. That's what this is all about. Are you Israel first or America first? Israel sees a power vacuum with the Democrats falling apart. They really are trying to take over not just our foreign policy, but our domestic policy.
100%.
This is just absolutely, totally, and completely insane. I hate watching Trump commit political suicide. He still does so much good, but Israel's forcing this litmus test. Netanyahu is. I don't know if they're blackmailing Trump or he just firmly believes in all this, but it's the worst possible political.
Trump is Jewish, Alex. He's Jewish.
Thing
That's why.
Mark Levin is as popular in MAGA as cancer is with the general public. It's just totally insane. So pledge allegiance to Mark Levin, or you're a traitor. It's a water cold, baby. Not everybody has a daughter. Trying to take a little time off, watching Rome burn. God bless you all.
Alex Jones. Everybody says Alex Jones sold out. It's like, dude, he has to like give and take a little bit. He's been on the air like longer than everybody. So like he's kind of allowed to give and take a little bit every now and then. He's kind of got, again, the largest audience among anybody. A lot of people don't know that, but it's true. So he's got a lot on the line. He's got a family. He's got, you know, it made sense that Alex Jones and the leaders of the bunch, the people who were speaking about all of this stuff first, the deep state, the globalists, the New World Order, Alex Jones was like one of the first ones doing that. So it's like to say that he's a traitor or a sellout is crazy. You know, yeah, he might not always be correct on certain issues regarding Israel, because I do think, you know, Genesis Communications, yeah, there's a lot of information how there is somewhat Mossad connections there to the Alex Jones show. But again, a lot of that is, you know, it has to be interpreted in a way of what is he saying? What is the message being portrayed? You know, you have to be able to analyze information from everybody and see what's truth, what's fiction, what's propaganda, what's not, you know, who's owned, who's not owned. And there's a difference between somebody who's owned and somebody who's trying to save their own butt a little bit, you know, trying to not get a bullet for saying the wrong things, reporting on the wrong stories. When you get high enough and big enough in media, you're gonna have to protect yourself a little bit every now and then. Trump says key allies won't join the U.S. in war. We watched that. We watched that video. Any cops or military watching my show? Something important to think about: your vehicle can always protect you. Zach Ferg, former Navy SEAL, illustrates how your vehicle can save your life and end your life in a gunfight. Get out and get on the offense. Never get trapped. Nice. Nice. Yep. And he's hanging out right behind there. Get that cover. I like this part. And then he uses the window. Uses that cross shot through the window. So Use your environment. You know, one of the things I hated in the academy is they didn't let us do this training. I wish they would have had us do this kind of training, because it would have been useful. You see a lot of cops getting ambushed today, and it's like if we were trained to do a lot of this, would have been super useful. America. Know your environment at all times, and then buy guns. The Saudi appears to be allowing U.S. and Israel fighters and bombers to refuel in their airspace before striking Iran, despite Saudi Arabia repeatedly claiming their airspace is closed. Very interesting. Very interesting. So we're seeing movements. We are seeing movements. Breaking German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius questions U.S. calls for European ships in the Strait of Hormuz, saying, what does Trump expect a handful of European frigates to do that a powerful U.S. Navy cannot? This is not our war, and we did not start it. Yeah, so that's playing music, so I don't want to get copyright. Yep, Germany and everybody else is saying, nope, we're not getting involved in this war. Sorry, Trump, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. So, yeah. The people seem to be making the right choice. I mean, we shouldn't be getting involved in this one. This is a war that is unnecessary, and it is only going to be fought for the state of Israel, so they can benefit, so they can rule the world. This has never been a war where America should be rooting for, ironically, the enemy even more than they already are. Urgent Iran. A recorded car camera video shows the strikes as it happens, immersing viewers in the intense moment. So let's check this out. This is crazy. This is insane. Look at this poor guy who's about to get it. This poor guy. Oh, man. Wow. That's crazy. Then there's the afterblow. Ready? 2. Yep, that's war. That's war. It's not pretty. Israeli passengers discovered that their driver was an Arab Palestinian and began assaulting him inside the vehicle. The attack escalated as they surrounded and beat him. The whole society is sick. And this is not what I said. This is from Parody Jeff on X. So again, they find out that the driver is some Palestinian Arab. There he is, where my cursor is. They blow smoke in his face. Jump off the bus like a bunch of cowards. Then they start cussing at him. Then they start the fight with him. Acting like a certain group of people in America in the inner cities. A lot of the same behavior. Yeah, it's very sick. Very satanic. It's very... this is a culture who is lost. Anybody who acts this way displays this kind of violence unnecessarily for no provoking reason. These people are lost. These people are completely lost. They have no soul, really. They've been disillusioned. They've been completely led astray, brainwashed, propagandized from age 1. From the moment they're old enough to read a book, they are learning that the Palestinians are their greatest enemy, and that non-Jews are goyim, and that non-Jews are cattle. All of these things are real truths. Look in the Jewish Encyclopedia if you don't believe me. All of these things are very real. Look in the Protocols of Zion if you don't believe me. This is just analysis we're doing here. No anti-Semitism, no hatred here. We're just covering the truth and the facts. So this is what's happening in Jerusalem. So they get a bus ride from this Arab Palestinian man, and then this is what he gets. This is his repayment. Poor fella. You got to fight back. A and B, it's just like you're not always going to win either. It's like, what do you do? Very sad. Ben Stiller has launched a soda line. He just made a public appearance at a grocery store, and literally no one gave a rat's ass. Globalist controlled. Hollywood is dead, and idiot actors like him are the last ones to figure it out. So I always liked Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller's in some funny shit. He's in some funny movies, okay? Ultimately, I mean, he's in some good stuff. But still, it is kind of funny. This dude's trying to sell his soda, and nobody notices him. They just think he's like a regular worker. That's funny. Steps back so hopefully more people see him. Find somebody recording him. Poor Ben Stiller. That's hilarious. That's so funny. Yeah, nobody even notices. That sucks. Poor guy. It's kind of like my live stream. Trump, what was the diagnosis? Okay, we covered that video. We watched that. 10 U.S. troops dead in strikes on Baghdad base. Gotta remember, a lot of these videos that we're going over, some of them could be real, some of them can be fake, but a lot of the videos that I bookmark here are real footage. These are real confirmed military videos. So I try to keep it as accurate as I can. If you see anything that you know for sure is untrue or fake, then obviously leave it in the comments so we can figure out what the real version is or whatever. My goal is not to lead anybody astray with this information. My goal is to inform, show you what's happening in the X algorithm, show you what's really happening in the fastest sending news, which is X. Trump is rambling, and the British oil firm headquarters are being struck by pro-Iran militias at the Manjun oil field in Iraq. Crazy. Yeah, so I really think Trump is just totally in a reality distortion field, because why else would we be in this war? Just in, first time in history, an Iranian missile successfully struck the underground bunker in the buildings of Tel Aviv. So let's take a look at this. We obviously pray for all of the victims of war. We pray for everybody. Death is not the goal here. The goal should be to not be involved in wars, never-ending wars, where tragedy and people die. Wow. One Iranian missile. Those Iranians, they're not so incapable. And the U.S. military underestimated. And now we're going to have retaliatory strikes. In the streets of Israel today, chaos reported in Tel Aviv as crowds demand the government's resignation. This was 21 hours ago. Protests are growing as shortages and instability increase. When Israel claims to act in the names of Jews while leading people toward crisis, the world must remember Israel does not represent Judaism. So here's the thing about this video. So I wanted to play this because there's something important to note here. I looked this up. I'm like, why are they fighting it? Why are the Jews fighting against their own people? Why are they fighting against their own government right now? All of a sudden, right? They had no problem with Gaza. They had no problem with Lebanon. And to my research, it's shaking out to be like they're completely fine with all of it. The only thing that they're against, the reason that the Jews are protesting their own people, is because Netanyahu signed a law in 2025 saying that Jews would have to be conscripted into the military age 25 to 35, I believe, 45. And so now all of the Orthodox Hasidic Jews who are religious, and they do that for a living, a full-time job, who are not required to go to war because they are religious studies, they're studying the Torah, they can do that for a living. And so those people who do that for the longest time did not have to go and serve their country. Now they do. So that's what they're really protesting for here. Okay, they're not protesting because they're against what Netanyahu's doing. They're not protesting because they're against what is happening in Lebanon, where the white phosphorus, against sulfuric acid, just melting people alive, spraying pesticides on all of the crops in Lebanon, doing what they did to Gaza, just completely pillaging and wiping everything all out. This is happening because these people do not want to be conscripted. They don't want to go and fight their own war, literally. Like, if you don't believe me, I'll literally look it up, because I looked it up earlier. I'm like, why all of a sudden? Like, I thought this was just really weird, right? Like, why all of a sudden? So let's look this up. So which one was it? I know I made a few of these. Let's see if this is AI. Yeah, I'm always checking to see if everything's AI, so I got to find the exact post. Which one was it? Protests. Here we go. So the post documents apparent anti-government protests in Tel Aviv on March 16, 2026, featuring videos of nighttime police clashes with crowds under overpasses and daytime street chaos with debris and ambulances, tied to demands for resignation amid reported shortages from ongoing Israel-Iran tensions. Footage authentically draws skepticism as one clip matches 2025 protest scenes, while recent reports confirm escalating demonstrations against Netanyahu's war handling. See, that's not the truth, though. That's not what I had found earlier. I got to find the right one. This is the one. Or was it the next one? Which one was it again? It's one of these. Which one was it again? I'm looking through all of these. It might be this one. I don't know. You guys can look it up though. Just look it up yourselves. Like, you guys can totally see why all of this is happening. Here it is. So the 613th mitzvah in Judaism, that's kind of apparently why they were protesting, right? Because the current Israeli government isn't sticking to those laws. So if you guys want to read through this, you can pause it, you can screenshot it. But this is what I had looked up. I was fascinated by this issue and what was going on. Why were these people really protesting all of a sudden? Tell me more about the rules and laws of the mitzvah requires Jews to follow. Also include the laws in Israel today of which are causing this. What percentage of Jews are supportive of settlements in Lebanon, Turkey, and Gaza? And so as we look at this, in Jewish tradition, the mitzvah are a set of 613 biblical laws derived primarily from the Torah with their origins and verses from Genesis through Deuteronomy. This number, 613, is symbolic, blah, 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 blah. Here's what I really wanted to get to. And you guys can read through that if you want. But the key point is why I wanted to, what I think they were fighting against. Current Israeli laws on military conscription for ultra-Orthodox Jews. This was the interesting find. So I looked this up. The tensions referenced in the context, Haredi protests against state police, stem primarily from ongoing legal and political battles over mandatory military service for ultra-Orthodox Haredi men who traditionally receive exemptions to pursue full-time Torah study, a practice seen as fulfilling mitzvah like constant learning. Deuteronomy 6:7. Israel's defense service law requires most citizens to serve in the Israeli Defense Force, IDF, from age 18, about 32 months for men, 24 for women. But Haredim have historically been deferred or exempted since 1948, initially for a small group, but expanding as their population grew. Now at about 13% of Israelis with high birth rates. Excuse me. Key developments. In June 2024, Israel's High Court unanimously ruled that blanket exemptions for Haredi yeshiva students are illegal and discriminatory, as no valid law extended them after prior legislation expired in 2023. This mandated immediate drafting and barred government funding for yeshiva seminaries whose students evade service. By mid-2025, the IDF planned to summon up to 54,000 eligible Haredim by July 2026 in its largest draft push, starting with 3,000 immediately per the Attorney General's order. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition, reliant on the Haredi parties like Shash or United Torah Judaism, has pushed contentious bills to regulate but largely maintain exemptions. A 2025 draft bill aimed to conscript non-full-time students while lifting sanctions on evaders over 26, but critics called it a non-conscription law for preserving the status quo. By early 2026, a revised bill proposed exempting full-time yeshiva students while increasing recruitment from Haredi graduates, with targets like 10,000 drafted in 2 years, described as a revolution by Netanyahu, but facing oppression for loopholes. Protests have escalated, including violent ones in Jerusalem, with Haredi leaders vowing to block budgets unless exemptions pass. This risks coalition collapse as Shah's threatened in January 2026. About 80,000 Haredi men aged 18 to 24 are eligible but unenlisted amid public resentment over unequal burden sharing, especially post-October 2023 wars. Right? Look at this. The Israeli Democracy Institute notes majority public support, including 70% of non-Haredi Jews for equal service models, viewing exemptions as unsuitable given security needs. However, Haredim argue conscription threatens their religious lifestyle, clashing with mitzvah prioritization. Support among Jews for settlements in specific areas. So this is what I was interested about. So apparently they're protesting. The Jews are protesting their own people in Netanyahu because they're very unhappy about what's happening in Lebanon and what happened in Gaza. And they can't believe it. And they're just very against it. Well, not according to my research. Support among Jews for settlements in specified areas. Let's take a look. In Gaza, multiple 2025 polls indicate significant support for reestablishing Jewish settlements, often linked to expelling Palestinians, ethnic cleansing. A Penn State University survey found 82% of Israeli Jews support expelling Gazans, implying room for settlements, with 56% backing similar for Arab Israelis. An Israel Hayom poll showed 52% of overall support for resettlement, 83% among ultra-Orthodox, 60% religious, 29% secular. Hold on for a second. Okay. I think we're good. All right, 1 second. Okay. An Israeli Hayom poll showed 52% overall support for the resettlement, 83% among ultra-Orthodox, 67% religious, and 29% secular. A Summit Institute poll had 49% favoring full occupation, displacement, and settlements, higher among coalition voters. Tel Aviv University's Peace Index found 62% supporting Palestinian evacuation from Gaza. Opposition exists. A Time of Israel poll showed 53% against annexation. Overall, 49 to 82% of Israeli Jews support resettlement of related actions per source. Then in Lebanon, no recent report specifically on establishing settlements, as Israeli does not claim the area for civilian expansion. Past occupation was military focused. However, amid 2024-2025 Hezbollah conflicts, a JCFA poll found 41% of Israeli Jews support long-term military occupation in southern Lebanon, 37% overall, including Arabs. Broader support for actions: 90% of Israeli Jews backed escalation against Hezbollah. 93% supported Operation Roaring Lion in early 2026. An Israeli Democracy Institute poll showed 54% of Jews favor continued fighting over diplomacy, 46% divided overall. Settlement support appears low to moderate, under 50%, inferred from the occupation data, as polls frame it as security rather than a civilian settlement. And then in Turkey, no polls exist on supporting Israeli settlements in Turkey, as this is not realistic or discussed scenario. Turkey is an independent country with no Israeli territorial claims as historical settlements. Related polls: a 2019 Mitvim, God, they have weird words, Institute survey found 53% of Israelis favor improving ties with Turkey, 68% among Arabs, 50% of Jews, up to prior years. A 2025 poll showed 90% opposed Turkish troops in Gaza as peacemakers. Support for settlements there is effectively 0%, based on the absence of data or context. If this refers to different area, if possible of Syria or Jordan, polls on broader expansion show 47% of Israeli Jews back increased control over Palestinian territories, including settlements. And then they will say that it was Hamas, and they will say that it was it will say it was Lebanon, it will say it was Hezbollah, they'll say it was Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and they'll have all these words that they'll blame it on, but it'll be Israel. And they'll do it for the Greater Israel Project. Cuba is entering their second night from, make sure we're still connected here. I think we should be fine. Okay. Cuba is entering their second night of a total electric grid collapse. There was blackouts for days before this, but now it is near total. Look at this. Crazy. Oh, sorry about that. Wow. We're lucky to be in the United States. We're lucky to be in America. We really are. Because this is what we are doing to them. Make no mistake about it. This is what a regime change looks like, ladies and gentlemen. A regime change, if you ever wanted to know what it looked like in real time, this is a regime change. This is what it looks like. The masses are going crazy. They're scattering. They're running. They are in fear for their lives. They're in fear of their country. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know if there's going to be missiles falling on them like Venezuela. Or not Venezuela, right? They, even better than missiles, they just sent in the 160th Special Aviation Regiment, which is Delta Force in the Night Stalkers. So that's crazy stuff. A literal two-way street of lead. It's wild seeing rounds fly over the heads while they return fire. Zero safety, just pure chaos in the sky. Crazy. Where is this anyways? Curious. So this is Dubai. A video depicts civilians on a Dubai area balcony filming red tracer streaks, likely Israeli or allied interceptors countering Iranian missiles amid the March 2026 U.S.-Israel-Iran escalations, not a street-level shootout. as implied. So yeah, this is not a shootout. This is them trying to shoot the missiles out of the sky using that anti-missile software. Breaking, according to Telegraph, Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei, who was targeted in the same attack that killed his father and other members of Iran's leadership, survived U.S. and Israeli strikes because he stepped outside for a walk in his garden minutes before his home was hit by the missiles. According to leaked audio recordings, Mojtaba Khamenei was outside and was heading upstairs when U.S.-Israeli forces struck the compound with Israeli Blue Sparrow missiles. Mojtaba Khamenei suffered an injury to his leg in the strikes, while his wife and son were killed instantly and his brother-in-law was decapitated. So again, that's kind of there's the action, some of the action you're seeing over there. Crazy. Wild. That's insane. Crazy, right? Ripple is still making moves. The crypto market, as I stated earlier in this episode, yeah, crypto's moving. XRP seems to be the chosen one. I mean, that's just what seems to be happening. Breaking, someone just built a real-time global intelligence dashboard and open-sourced it for free. He called it Shadow Broker. Tracks every U.S. Navy carrier strike group via OSINT, military via commercial aircraft separated in real time, spy satellites, GPS jamming zones with live severity overlays, Ukraine frontline updates every 30 minutes, 25,000 ships via live WebSocket, 2,500 CCTV feeds from New York City, London, and Singapore. Right-click any point on Earth and get a full intelligence dossier. The data has always been public. Nobody bothered to aggregate it until now. 100% open source. Link in the comments. So pretty cool. Go check that out. Pretty neat. It's important to follow the war and really see what's happening. What's happening in Lebanon is horrific. MTG, there was basically a genocide on Gaza. Yeah, she made those statements. Watcher Guru. Oh my God, storage problems. Always. Video shows ship traffic in the Strait of Hormuz over the past 24 hours. So this is kind of what's been going on in the Strait of Hormuz. Kind of the activity that we've been seeing. Scary. Look at that. What a cluster. That's insane. Gotta love some good guns. To all the gun enthusiasts out there. Yep, love it. Benjamin Netanyahu's shadow in the new video that was just released to the Iranian people, it moves in a completely different way than his own movements. Does this support the theory that he might actually be dead? Yeah. Possibly. But then again, it's just like a light shining on him, so it's creating the shadow. I don't know what's weird about this. Is it just like not meeting his movements or something?
Iranian people, that light will triumph over darkness, that good will triumph over evil. This year, this holiday has special meaning. Celebrate it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I take this opportunity to wish you a happy Nowruz, a year of freedom, a new beginning of hope.
Interesting.
To all of you, my dear friends.
Very interesting. Breaking point, hundreds of teens flooded Washington, D.C.'s upscale Navy Yard neighborhood, sparking fights, robberies, and gunfire in what officials described as juvenile takeover from former Biden White House advisor Yamisi Agbolwol warned that blue cities need to wake up, saying tolerating the behavior is unfair both to residents and to the kids involved. Look at that. So it's like everybody else wants to pretend like this isn't diversity. This is the problem of diversity. You want to know what this is? You want to know what this is in your country? This is the issue of diversity. You tell me if I'm wrong. Diversity did this. And then also, when we have a corrupt government and we have a Jewish, oligarchy, control of our government and all of these things which promote and constitute for all of these kind of things that we're seeing in the news, right? So like this is the behavior they want. This is the destruction of an empire. This is the fall of an empire when you allow all of these, refugees and illegals to come in, and you allow all these different, you allow all of this diversity, and it doesn't help your country. It'll destroy your empire first and foremost. It'll be the first thing that happens when you include diversity. I know that might hurt some people's feelings, and that might offend some, but good, you can be offended because this is what's happening. This is the truth. Diversity. Look at all the youths. All those youths. Seriously, though. Like, this is not good. This is not America. You know, we deserve to live in a safe country, a safe place. You should be able to leave your home. You should be able to live in New York City, leave your apartment, and not have to worry about getting jumped by these people. Seriously. You should be able to, be able to go to the gas station and not have to worry about getting shot. This is crazy. We're in the United States. I would look at this if I was an extraterrestrial and I looked at this. I would feel like an extraterrestrial. I would absolutely feel like, oh my God, these people are not people. These are like animals. If I was an ET, if I was from a different planet, look at this. This is just so wrong. This is communism. This is the results of socialism. This is the results of liberal ideology. This is the results of Zionism. This is the results of leftism, wokeism, feminism, alcoholism, all of it. That's America in your future if we don't stop it. What is this? Right when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, turns out it goes even deeper than we imagined. Then, now they are claiming Erica is actually into women. At this point, nothing would surprise me anymore. So let's look at this. I definitely wanted to check this out. Let's look at this. This was a weird find. So what's with this?
Has known Erica for years. Now,
whoa.
Allegedly, she was with Erica when Mikey and Elizabeth called. My question is why?
I have played basketball since I was 5. Super tomboy. Didn't like dresses. Everyone thought I was a little boy because I wore Jordan and all these different types of athletic clothes.
What if the real reason Erica Kirk has been so secretive about her dating history is that she was never really into men at all before she met Charlie? That's what TPUSA insiders are whispering about right now, and apparently Candace Owens has footage to back these claims up. The idea of Erica being into women has actually been floating around for a while, but it exploded when old tweets making reference to Erica's wife popped up, which coincided with the time Erica said she wasn't dating in New York. But it gets darker. Around the same time, old texts of an adult Erica with a much younger girl also popped up. And now, all those conversations about Erica's shady Romanian orphanage being linked to trafficking are coming back up. So
wait, what? What is going on? What is this? Hold on here. We can't just play the videos. We got to play it back. We got to play this back a bit. We got to bring it back. What is going on?
Like dresses. Everyone thought I was a little boy because I wore Jordan and all these different types of athletic clothes.
Yeah, girls do that. I mean, I get that.
Kirk has been so secretive about
sometimes, I guess.
Dating history is that she was never really into men at all before she met Charlie. That's what TPUSA insiders are whispering about right now, and apparently Candace Owens has footage to back these claims up. The idea of Erica being into women has actually been floating around for a while.
Again, I do want to chime in and just say all of this could be propaganda, right? It could be propaganda. We're going to objectively analyze these videos. We're not going to defame anybody's character here. We're analyzing these things so we can have fun with this. We can laugh, but nobody is nobody's innocent until proven guilty, right? So, what is that? You're innocent until proven guilty. Gosh. That's what I meant to say. But so, again, we're analyzing this from a fact position here, okay? We're going to try to just analyze the truth and just look at these videos objectively because this is crazy. This entire Erica Kirk thing is nuts. It's absolutely insane. It's really weird, this whole connection to Jeffrey Epstein and Erica Kirk and the Epstein syndicate. Now Trump's involved with it. Super shameful. I guess I just voted Democrat all these years, That's kind of just what happened because
reference to Erica's wife popped up, which coincided with the time Erica said she wasn't dating in New York. But it gets darker. Around the same time, old texts of an adult Erica with a much younger girl also popped
15-year-old girl.
Up. And now, all those conversations about Erica's shady Romanian orphanage being linked to trafficking are coming back up. So now everyone's wondering, if Candace already has the receipts for all of this in the vault, what is it going to take for her to click that upload button?
She suddenly struck up a relationship with a 15-year-old girl, a minor.
That's weird.
Posted all of this on Twitter.
Yeah, we've been seeing those videos. We've been seeing the videos of the Romanian angels. We've been seeing all of that coming out.
Screenshots
Now, before we get into Candace's receipts, we have to talk about that resurfaced post. Because just when you think nothing from Erica's past can shock you again, the internet digs up something even worse than the last one. And this time, this post said something very specific that had people doing a double take. One of Erica's followers tagged her in this puppy reaction meme saying, Erica's face when she walks into dinner expecting to see her wife, but Cabot Phillips is there instead. Another one for the books. Well done, Cab. Now here's why this post stood out. Firstly, it gave people even more proof that Erica knew and was involved with Cabot.
Yeah, but chicks who are friends talk that way all the time. Okay, that's kind of dumb. That's a little much of a stretch. Like Erica Frensve, or however you pronounce her name, Frensve, face when she walks into dinner expecting to see her wife, and Cabot Phillips is there instead.
Now here's why this post stood out. Firstly, it gave people even more proof that Erica knew and was involved with Cabot Phillips.
Oh, this guy.
Repeatedly denied dating.
That's who I thought this was talking about, a chick. I forgot about this Cabot guy.
But more importantly, it made all those theories that have been floating around about Erica being into women seem not all that crazy. Because it's not like this post was from some hidden archive or something. It's right there for anyone who wants to verify. Which means Erica wasn't even hiding her relationship with this supposed wife. And get this, the tweet—
That's so sad because she's such a good-looking chick. Like she had so much potential, and then she's like this evil Jew.
It is from 2017, barely
Not to be like rude or anti-Semitic, but I mean seriously, like that's not a Christian. It's not a Christian for sure. Make no mistake about it, not a Christian. Charlie Kirk was a Christian. He was Christian, and that's why they martyred him. Charlie Kirk was a modern-day founding father. That's why they killed him. Charlie Kirk turned down $130 million 2 days before his assassination, and that's why they killed him. Charlie Kirk believed in Jesus Christ, and he believed in bringing both peace to the United States of America and to the state of Israel, to all people, to all human beings, because he was a Christian, and they hated him for it.
Or Erica met Charlie and decided to give up her party girl lifestyle to play house with him. So now people are wondering, how was Erica involved with a woman in 2017?
Arranged marriage.
To the point where her friends were referring to this woman as her wife, only to turn around and become a Christian trad wife the following year. As people tried to answer that question, they kept unearthing more posts from Erica's old social media accounts. Except none
It's getting bad. Like, I'm curious to see what all the other personalities are going to say, because, I mean, you can't really... What is this? Like, this is insane. Like, as Tucker Carlson would say, what is this? What is this about?
He's really answered the question.
What is this?
They only made them worse. One of those posts was shared by British commentator Milo Yiannopoulos with the caption, "This is a lesbian." The post features a photo where Erica posing in a photo she posted with the caption, "What she order? Fish fillet?" And that's when the tone of the conversation shifted again. Because when these photos of Erica seemingly looking gay popped up, it didn't take...
Okay, see... To me, this is where propaganda comes in, though. That's somebody she's saying, okay, she looks gay. It's like, okay, well, let's actually look at what the picture is now. Let's look at the pictures. This is to me, this doesn't look like somebody who's gay. This looks more like a chick who's more of a, I don't know, looks like a hipster. This looks like this looks like the style girls were wearing in like 2013 and 2015. Maybe before that, kind of in that era. All these chicks wanted to be Kesha, and they wanted to dress like they were some pop star. So I remember girls dressing like this all the time, and they weren't lesbians. So that's kind of a stretch. That's a lot of propaganda, I think.
Seemingly looking gay popped up. It didn't take long for people to start wondering if she had lied about her.
Yeah, honestly, that's a style. A lot of chicks dress like that.
With men to cover up the fact that she was a lesbian.
So, again, a lot of propaganda perhaps there. Maybe that's just a little bit more of... Maybe that's more of credit or character assassination there. But again, 1.1 million views on that tweet. So it got a lot of attention. And so what do you guys think about it? Is it legitimate? I think it's kind of crazy what we're seeing with all of it, to be frankly honest. It's just wild. So with that being said, now let's see what's going on next. Let's see what's breaking news. Let's see if there's anything new. We're going to wrap this show up here in a few minutes. Let's see what is new in the algorithm beside Elon Musk. The proceeds of any legal activity... By the way, the proceeds of any legal victory in the OpenAI case will be donated to charity. I will in no way enrich myself. What charity? I hate when they say that. These philanthropists and these billionaires. Oh, I'm going to give my wealth to charity. I'm going to give my billions to charity. It's like, what charity, first of all? Because, most charities are a scam. It's not hard to develop a 501c3 or a 501c4 and get yourself a charity. And then you develop a super PAC out of it. You know, like, how do you think Celebrity Apprentice existed as a show? It was all about charity. Everything was about charity. Everything is charity. Charity, 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 charity. You want to be rich. You want to be super buku bucks. You want to get it all. Then you're going to have to own a charity. And so you invest in your charities. And then he'll probably recoup a lot of that money. You know, so this is the billionaire way. Of course, I'm running out of data. Running out of storage. Always got the storage problem. So I'm going to have to wrap it up here in a moment. Yeah, we're going to just wrap it up here in a few seconds. goldsharkmedia.com if you guys want to check it out. I am pretty much like completely out of storage, so I'm going to have to wrap up this live stream because like an Apple Mac is just so awesome that it interrupts you every time. It makes you click this stupid thing, letting you know that you don't have storage. Pass RE USA if you want to become a real estate agent. You want to you want to learn how to do what I do. You want to learn how to buy and sell real estate. You want to make a commission off it, make some more money. Take this online course, passreusa.com. This gives you 1,300 practice questions. It's relevant for all 50 states. And it's pretty awesome because, again, it gives you a ton of different questions. So also be sure to subscribe to the Ecker Geopolitics YouTube channel. Wrapping up here as trying to fight this storage. Subscribe to the Ecker Geopolitics YouTube channel. We are online every night at 7 o'clock p.m. And then also subscribe to my main channel, my primary channel, which has 28,000 subscribers. But that's kind of a newer live stream. 11 a.m. we do market updates. We'll see if we can stick to the schedule. I'm kind of trying to figure out a schedule that works for me right now. I'm a busy guy, so but lots of good posts there. So definitely be sure to sign in and be sure to get the most out of it. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to stay prudent, stay powerful, and stay wealthy. What do you guys think about the entire event? What do you guys think about the Iran war? What are your guys' takes on it? Is Netanyahu really dead? Is it all a scam? Are we all being lied to? What do you guys think? I'll see you guys next time. See you guys next time. Being all slow.